Welcome to Our New Story, a podcast exploring the lives and voices of New Health employees in the heart of rural Northeastern Washington. Join us as we delve into their experiences, from navigating the unique challenges and rewards of rural healthcare to discovering the joys of living and working in this vibrant community. Every episode is a chance to connect with the people behind the scenes, hear their stories, and learn what makes New Health truly special. All right, and welcome back to another episode of Our New Story. I'm your host, Jacob Daving, and I'm super excited about our guest today, Katherine Gilbert, Patient Navigator. Katherine, how are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. So, what is a Patient Navigator? I'm sure a lot of our viewers have never heard that term before.
Yeah, so as the Patient Navigator for New Health, my role is to help all of our patients and community members who aren't our patients gain access to community resources to help overcome obstacles that aren't clinical.
Oh, wow.
So if you imagine anything in your life that keeps you from prioritizing making it to your healthcare appointment, whether it's not having a car or not having a ride, not having money for your prescriptions, there's resources that I can help gain access to help overcome those barriers.
Can you give me a specific example of kind of what that looks like?
Yeah, absolutely. So if we had, say, a community member who knows that New Health is a very large presence in our area, but doesn't come to see us as a patient, they get our phone number, give us a call. One of our care coordinators here in Chewelah can put them through to discuss options, services that New Health offers, as well as a variety of resources like transportation. Rural Resources is a great resource that I pull from in Colville, especially our Stevens County area. They have programs like Meals on Wheels, helps our seniors gain access to proper nutrition, getting rides to their appointments if they don't have a car or they don't have gas money. I can just give a call to like our local food bank and they have gas vouchers that can help, or the transportation department at Rural Resources. It's a vast array of opportunities that I can provide.
Okay, that's amazing. So you're really here to support our patients, our community members, and getting access to care, really.
Absolutely.
Okay, wonderful. Well, I'd love to talk more a bit about that. But first, I know that you are quite the local to Northeastern Washington. So please give me your background. Where are you from?
Well, I was born and raised in Colville. I lived there until I was about 22. When I was pregnant with my daughter, we moved down to southern Idaho, and I lived there for 4 years and worked in the school district. That kind of ignited some of this pathway for me, to be honest, because some of the needs that I had as a brand new mom and living in an area that I knew no one, I was only working part-time and a lot of things were pretty difficult. So I had to pull from some of those resources and use someone who was just like me, but in Idaho. When I moved back up to Colville, I started working at Delta Dental and I was customer service. So had some of the insurance background as well. And then I started as a dental assistant.
Oh, wow.
In New Health. So I spent some time around the community members that I now help to serve. And, having lived here most of my life, so just having 4 years away, the rest of my time has been spent in Colville. So it's very, very dear to my heart to be able to serve these communities in this way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it sounds like some of your experiences have affected your pathway. Growing up local, I see that a lot. People have had these experiences as children or adults in your case. That kind of leads them to their future career and wanting to help some people.
Yeah,
so that's great. You have a lot of time and experiences in Colville, rural Northeastern Washington. What's the most rewarding aspect of living in this area?
All of our great wilderness, honestly.
Okay.
Every one of my hobbies has to do with the outdoors, and we live half an hour away from 49 degrees north. I snowboarded once. It was very bad, but it was fun.
Yeah.
My family, we grew up hunting. So we hunt and fish, and having access to like the lake and river, fishing, going out on the boat. It's so close, and it's just something that you can't get if you lived inside of a city.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So would you say that's kind of like how you relax when you're outside of work, getting in nature, enjoying the views, kind of doing things like that?
Absolutely. My husband and I just started some of our intro to hiking and visited Colville Mountain last week. And honestly, I don't think that there's anything better than just getting your workout in and eating a snack with a view.
Yes, I love it. You can't beat that. Only in Northeastern Washington. Well, wonderful. I'd love to now kind of change the pace up a little bit and talk a bit more about your pathway. So you mentioned that you kind of went from customer service to a DA at New Health, then to a patient navigator. So what got you initially interested in that DA role with New Health?
Well, my experience at Delta Dental of Washington as customer service, the insurance aspect is greatly different than working hands-on, being with the patient, being able to support them. As customer service, I felt a lot of the heartache that patients experienced going to their dental office, having procedures done, not understanding what was being done. And I just felt like there was a greater goal that I could achieve by being in clinic, hands-on with patients, giving them that reassurance, giving them the explanation, because I had the details from what a procedure entailed and had a lot of experience with knowing a lot of the dental field, but not really being able to put patients at ease, because when you're taking those phone calls for an insurance company, those things have already happened. They've already had the experience. But when you get to make a great impact on their experience, that was truly what drew me to the dental assistant position.
I can tell you're very passionate about kind of affecting the patients. Yes. No, and I love that. So then how did you become a dental assistant? Was that through a training program, or kind of talk a bit about that?
Yes. So on New Health's website, when I was searching for the next greatest thing that I could accomplish, I ran across the New Health University. I know we talked to Melissa Russell on the last episode, and she talked about some of the opportunities, but that is genuinely what drew me, having that chance to take some of my knowledge. And even though it was ground zero for all of the experience hands-on, we had some really great trainers. I applied and interviewed and had those conversations, and they took a chance on me, and I was so glad to be able to go through the 12-week training program at New Health in the clinic, learn hands-on, and gain the experience that I needed to be successful for the year that I put forth.
Yeah, that's amazing. And for those who haven't watched the previous episode with Melissa Russell, please do. We talk a bit more about New Health University and those career pathways. But that's amazing. Like, you are an example of someone who's a local community member who was looking to kind of evolve into a career. And you took advantage of New Health University and got your foot in the door.
I did.
Well, that's perfect. So now you're a dental assistant at New Health. You've graduated. You're currently practicing. How do you become a patient navigator?
There truly was one pivotal moment that I can remember with a patient that had several appointments, just had recurring questions, had some misunderstanding with his insurance, and especially being able to draw from my insurance background. I took a couple of those appointments, and although we didn't get the work done that we had hoped, it was very successful because I got to sit down with him and have a conversation about his concerns and his questions, and really map out a conversation that he could have with his insurance company to put all of his concerns at ease. So it's not something that I think that everyone has that opportunity. Not every assistant can sit there and say, this is really what you need to do to fix these problems that you're facing. But I did get that opportunity. And so I was like, I would love to be able to help patients in this way and have this conversation more often. And so then that was kind of amidst the interest of Patient Navigator, and that just really ignited my passion to chase the opportunity so fiercely.
Okay, perfect. So, and how long have you been a Patient Navigator at New Health?
What is today backwards to August?
Okay, so pretty recent though still.
Yes,
okay.
Yes, under a year.
Okay, so then are you the only Patient Navigator at New Health? Are we looking to add some more? Can you talk a bit about that?
Yes. So since August, when this role was very new, implemented with me as the first, it has been just myself serving all of our clinics and our patients and communities that span across Stevens Ferry and Pend Oreille County. We do have on the horizon a teammate for myself, which I'm so excited for whenever we find out who that's going to be when they get to start. So we're adding to the team. The opportunities, I think, even beyond that are going to continue to grow.
Well, the need seems to be there. There's always going to be people who have trouble getting insurance, transportation, food. Like these are just common occurrences, not just in a rural city, but I'm sure they're, even a little bit more prevalent in a rural city. So the need is there.
Absolutely. Even if it's the simplest question, someone being able to have a person to turn to, because, our front office staff, they're so busy. Our care coordinators and helping with the scheduling for all of our clinics, they're extremely busy, and having myself who, not that I'm not busy, but having someone to point those patients to that can just really hone in on their concerns and take all of that time. We want our patients to feel heard and seen. And I really get to put that into my day-to-day work for them.
Well, props to you and props to New Health for kind of dedicating some personnel just specifically for this need.
Clinics are turning to people, especially that have expertise in these areas. And so that's extremely, I'm so grateful, I guess I should say, to be able to put forth my experience in the community and just give back.
Okay, perfect. So we've got to talk a bit about kind of what you do in your role. So what are some of the most fulfilling aspects of this?
I think being able to really collaborate with our clinic staff and our care coordinators. Of course, I have a very close partnership. We're all part of patient services department, but partnering with the providers as well, discussing some specific needs. I work in the Colville Clinic, and having 4 of those providers with very close access, I'm just down the hallway. I'm able to have a conversation or step into an exam room and say, let me put you at ease right now. And I think that that's the most fulfilling at this point. But also just being able to solve and resolve problems that patients face that have the possibility of being long lasting, like not having transportation. For instance, just this last week on Wednesday, I got a message from one of our care coordinators, and he said, hey, I've got this patient. He wants to cancel his appointment for tomorrow, and it's really desperately needed. Like this appointment is so important, but he needs to cancel because he doesn't have a ride. And I was like, it's very, very short notice, but I will see what I can do. So he transferred the call over. I chatted with the patient. We talked about some of the obstacles he's been facing. We tackled a couple things all at once. The more you have a conversation with someone, the more you can learn what you can do for them. So I provided a couple of resources, and I let him know, let me call a couple of my places. Let me call my people, and I'll see what we can do. No guarantees. If that's not possible, we'll tackle arranging a ride and rescheduling so we know that they align with each other. So I was able to actually contact one of my resources in the transportation department at Rural Resources, and they got him a ride for that next day. He was able to make that appointment. It was it really was the best moment of this week, especially. But knowing too that I can hand off that phone number and it can be used at any time. Giving people a way to help themselves in the future it's incredible.
You're setting people up for success, really. So, and you mentioned you're kind of working with these care teams. It's almost like you're becoming a part of these care teams.
That's the goal.
Okay. So you're able to work with their pharmacist, with their dentist, with their practitioner to kind of help assist with all of these needs.
Absolutely. There might be some situations where a patient doesn't want to necessarily have the discussion with me in person. And being able to know that transparency is there between the provider and myself, even if I'm not directly discussing something with the patient, that can get to them through many different avenues.
Okay. Well, Katherine, it sounds like you have a lot under your belt, but it sounds like this is kind of a unique, valuable service that New Health is providing. What are some of those unique values?
I think one of the most unique values is that my time is fairly flexible. I am working on the patient's time.
I love that.
It truly is whatever is going to work for that patient, no matter the mode of communication that we're using, the needs that we're serving. I'm there when the patient needs me. And if it's not immediate, I'm going to have that ability to contact them at a time that's best for them.
Okay.
So getting my time kind of aligned with the patient, I think is most valuable for them.
Yeah.
Having that ability to pivot when necessary. What I can tell you is that, and Deanie tells me this all the time, the one thing that you can count on is change. So I might set forth with my day planned in a certain structure.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to go out the window at some point. And I'm prepared for that, because sitting down and making some calls that are, outreach calls, those are going to probably get interrupted. And I have to know that I'm okay with that, because if there's a need that's coming in and I get to serve that because it's what's convenient for the patient, that is truly impeccable.
Yeah. So I'd love to start looking ahead and kind of see, what advice would you give to someone interested in being a patient navigator?
I would really tell them to get ready to put your investigation hat on.
Okay.
Because a number one service that we provide is collaborating with resources that are out in the community. And you can't truly ever know all of what's out there if you're not continuing to dig and research and, make calls that seem out of the blue. I had a situation that a care coordinator was facing the other day and was able to help fulfill some needs and save myself a resource for using later on. We had a patient situation. They needed certain treatment, and I called one of our Colville resources at New Alliance, and this particular service that was needed, they couldn't provide, but they know someone, So then I got in touch with a clinic that was in Spokane, and they were going to be able to help. So just being able to, be Inspector Gadget, get all of those, put your boots on in the morning and get ready to talk to people you never imagined that you'd have to, because there are hidden gems everywhere. And if I don't know it, I probably know someone who does. Okay. So that's perfect. So you're always kind of out investigating for new resources, trying to make new connections, just expanding kind of that tool belt you have of resources. Absolutely. So anyone considering this type of position, just make sure your communication skills are ready, because you're going to talk to a lot of people.
Yes. So that's great though. So communication skills would be a big thing. What other skills would be valuable in a position like this? Compassion
is definitely number one. I think that being able to meet a patient where they're at and understand, feel the empathy, and also know what they're going to need moving forward, even if they can't tell you, that is truly important. Okay. That's huge. So Katherine, if you could share one message with our viewers, what would you share about the importance of patient navigation services? I would share that we're truly here for you. We are going to be able to be your communication on the inside if it's needed, and liaison between you and whatever resource is necessary to help overcome your barriers and obstacles. Here for you, here for all. Yes. All right, guys. Well, on that note, I think we're going to begin to wrap up. So I want to thank Katherine again for taking her time, hopping on the podcast and sharing a bit more about herself and what a patient navigator does. So Katherine, what's the best way to get a hold of you? Well, I really suggest checking out our website at newhealth.org. And on our website, you're able to find all of our contact information. For myself, the phone number is going to be 509-935-6004. Patient Navigator is option number 5. Or if you need to schedule or talk with our care coordinators about any of your medical needs, that's option number 1. Okay. Perfect. Well, thank you again, Katherine. If you guys haven't, please sure to like, subscribe. Go ahead and check out some of our previous videos, and we'll go ahead and see you next time. Thank you.